this episode we have a special guest, Mark. Mark is a member of the Bladestock Brothers. He has a huge collection of special knives, but today he will show a partial collection of his SOG knives. Mark, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for being in our show. Thank you for showing your collection. Maybe you can introduce yourself, tell something about yourself, and then you can tell something about your collection and how it started and so on.
Hello, thank you. Hello, my name is Mark. I'm a knife collector of various brands, all kind of types, but I got a special interest in the brand SOG. It started actually with this knife, not only for SOG, but also for me. I really like this blade. I like the leather stack, especially also the blue gaunt steel. I like the fit and finish, and that's how it started for me with SOG. Correct.
That's the original SOG Bowie.
That's correct. Fraser Spencer, which started the company SOG, he liked this knife, particularly this knife as well, and he wanted to launch one on the market. It's a knife which was specially developed for the Special Forces in Vietnam, the 5th Special Forces, and to tribute for the Special Forces, he made this knife. And that's also how the brand SOG itself started. This is the second knife they made. This is a Trident. It's actually pretty much the same as the S1. And this is the S1, the first one. And this is the Trident, and that's the S2. Pretty similar knife with micarta instead of leather stack, and also all blade material AUS 8 instead of the SK5. This knife, this steel is this is stainless steel, and this is still a steel which is used today by SOG, AUS 8 for fixed blades.
And those are all made in Japan, I think.
Yeah, those two were made in Japan by Ichiro Hattori, a really famous knife maker, probably one of the best in the world, in my opinion. And after a couple of years, SOG moved from Japan and went and let them produce in Taiwan. This is not blue gaunt. This is like a coating, and it's black. And you can see the differences as well. Personally, I like the fit and finish of the Hattori knives better, but the knife itself, pretty much you can compare them.
Yeah, it's all a matter of price, of course, production price.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what the actual reason was to go to Taiwan. It wasn't a price issue, but for me it's not certain if it's like the prices of in Japan went up or SOG decided to cut some costs and went to Taiwan. Personally, but that's speculation. Personally, I think the prices went up in Japan. Knife makers like Hattori, I think they increased prices because they could sell themselves for much better prices.
I think in those days, we talk about early 80s, I think, other factories followed SOG, like Cold Steel. They also let produce in Japan the first knives, and more factories, of course, manufacturers. So I think the demand was increasing and exceeding the production capacity of Hattori.
Yeah,
so he could,
that's true.
He could increase his prices.
Yeah.
but speculative.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not quite sure. I never really found the answer why, besides for cost reasons, why they moved to Taiwan. And I think it's what Hank said, production capacity problems, so they could raise prices. So a lot of companies had no other choice than to move to Taiwan. And one of the reasons I think that's the case, because even Hattori himself moved some production to Taiwan. I've seen Ichiro Hattori knives made in Taiwan, and they were produced a similar amount, same period as this SOG knife, which was produced in Taiwan. So I personally, but again, that's speculation, I think Japan raised the prices because they got a luxury problem. The demand was much higher than production, than availability. So, but then again, I'm not quite sure. Anyhow, when they moved to Taiwan, personally, I think that there wasn't really a difference in quality, big difference, but SOG also use other knives, for example, pocket knives in China, which they also compromised in quality, in material quality, and that's with the result that SOG got a bad reputation in the market. It was not special forces suitable anymore. I think a good example is the SOG Fusion Bowie. I don't have that one. It looks a little bit like this SOG government, but then not full tang, cheap materials, cheap steel. So it's definitely not suitable for special forces. And I think that had a big impact for knife collectors all over the world. So SOG lost some interest for the knife collectors. But I think the last few years they are changing again, and they are getting improving their stuff again. A good example, I think, is this knife, the SOG Pilar. I think it's like 3 years ago they introduced it. And I also already noticed the difference. They used a nice micarta, also premium steel like S30 VN steel. So that's definitely much different than Alice 8 or even the Chinese steel. So that for me, there was like a single. Okay, they are changing again. They are improving their quality again, and they try to regain their old image of reliable and strong products. And hopefully they will continue to improve themselves again.
Well, the other day we had an interview with Jonathan Wagner of SOG and Keith Baxton, if I memorize as well. And we talked about the strategy of SOG, the change of strategy they introduced in 2020. So I think they will continue improving themselves. They have to.
They have to.
Yeah.
They had a great image, and they pretty much blew it with the SOG Fusion Bowie. And there are some other examples of, with all respect, crappy knives, and that's not suitable. It's not SOG worthy. And again, they are improving again. So
yeah.
Hopefully they'll regain the image which they once had.
Okay. That was an awesome overview of some fixed of SOG. Now to the folding knives. I like those as well. So, Mark, go ahead.
Thank you. As you can see, we now have the folding knives. I want to start with the Tomcat. That was like the first folding knife from SOG, and was launched in 1988. and won the Knife of the Year award. Really good, strong knife, and they made several versions. In the meantime, it's like the SOG 3. The SOG 2, the difference is they got a thumb stud. It was limited produced, only for like 2 years. And then they changed it to SOG 3 with the R-clock, and which I really like, the R-clock. The knives are like for both right as left-handed. It's the same, so it's easy to use. It can easily open and close. Oh.
You also can throw with it.
And this is like the really big version of the Tomcat. This is the Fat Cat. The Tomcat 3 is already a big knife, but compared to the Fat Cat, it's a small knife. It's surprisingly smooth for its size. I really like this knife. A little bit too big for daily
it's
daily
not
use.
practical.
For daily use, it's not really practical.
But I love them. I really like them very much. It's a big chunk of titanium, and VG10, I think.
Correct.
Steel.
Yeah.
So razor sharp.
I think it's even laminated with VG10 and other kind of steel.
Okay.
If I'm not wrong, let me check. VG10. I thought it was laminated, but probably not. It's only that's VG10. This is like the new knife from SOG. It was like launched like 2 years ago in the United States. Unfortunately, it takes a little bit longer for those knives to arrive in Europe. This is like the new lock, and it's size-wise between the SOG 3 and the Fat Cat. So it's a really big knife. It's like really thick blade steel. So this is definitely for heavy use. And hopefully they will continue to.
What kind of coating?
I'm not quite sure. I think it was like in titanium coating.
PVD, DLC?
DLC, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the XR lock, how do you have experience already with XR lock in use?
Not really, but I think it's like a mixture between their arc lock and the piston lock, which they use with assisted opening. I really like this kind of lock. It's strong, reliable. And it also helps you to smooth things out. Personally, if I open a knife, I use the lock instead for the flipper or the hole. So this is like really smooth. Put it back and open it.
Yeah, I think there are also a lot of similarities with the Access lock.
That's true. There's like the debate for like years. When SOG launched the arc lock, they said, okay, that's like the Access lock from Benchmade. According to SOG, there are small differences. I'm not quite sure how this compares with the Access lock. I haven't disassembled it yet, so I don't know how they can compare it with Benchmade.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it will show on camera, but you can see a little X moving. So that's quite similar to the Access lock. I hope it shows on camera. Okay.
So this the Tomcat.
The Tomcat.
Yeah.
Tomcat 1, 2, 3, Fat Cat.
And this is Seal XR.
Yeah.
These are some older and collectible knives. This is the liner lock. The liner lock was produced like for 2 years for this particular knife and also for the Pentagon. So the liner locks are rare.
And then the country of origin, do you know that?
Yes, this is Japan.
Japan.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what a lot of people think that they sort of moved entirely from Japan to Taiwan, like 10 years ago, but SOG kept continue producing knives in Japan. So not all knives were made in Taiwan and or China.
Okay.
You can see what I told with line lock. This is the same knife. Different handle material, of course, but this is with the arc lock, and this is the liner lock.
Yeah.
And you can see the difference. This is especially made for right-handed, and this for
This is
both.
fully ambidextrous.
That's correct. Easy to adjust the pocket clip. So for the lefties, I would definitely recommend SOG. This is also with a newer knife from SOG. I was think introduced like 2 years ago. Also with the XR lock. Really smooth knife. Design-wise, I like it. It's pretty friendly. It's not
Very
scary for the sheeple.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I really hope they will keep continuing this. I think they released this year like the new Aegis with the XR lock. I'm looking forward to get one of those.
The Aegis and the Flash and
That's correct.
the third one. I forgot the name.
The Trident.
Yeah, Trident.
Yeah. So they all, there's all new versions with the XR lock. By the way, the term is also as like in slip joint version. But again, I'm looking forward to see the Aegis. Probably will take another year before they arrive in Europe. Unfortunately, it seems that SOG pretty much focus on the American market and secondary on the European market. So for a collector, you have to be patient.
There will be some changes. I refer to the interview, but if you want to know more, just follow the link below in the description box to the interview with Jonathan Wagner and Keith Baxton.
I'm looking forward to look at that interview as well.
Yeah. Okay, that little guy in the front.
Yeah, this is the Stingray. It's pretty much the smaller version of the Tomcat 1, as you can see.
I like that very much.
Yeah, I was very lucky. I found this one on a farm and from a guy who knows I'm a SOG collector, and he sold it to me for a reasonable and fair price.
Very smooth. Yeah, very smooth. A little bit of play, but it's with all backlocks. I like that one. Okay. Yeah, nice. Okay, thank you, Mark. We will clean the table and we will continue with some Japanese-made knives from a famous Japanese mastersmith. Okay, so back to the knives. Mark has a very nice collection of Hattori-made knives. The brand Hattori, but also Hattori made. And Hattori, I think, is one of the most famous Japanese knife makers. I think he started in the 70s. And is he still making knives?
He's still making knives.
He's still making knives. And I think he is now around
81,
70.
81.
Oh, 81.
Okay.
81 and still making knives, still going strong. Okay, Mark, awesome knives, Hattori, tell us your story.
This for me with Hattori started with the SOG S1, which I already showed with the other SOG knives, and this particular knife he became famous Well, he started to make knives for companies for like Kershaw already in the 70s. This is an example of one of those knives from Kershaw made. This is pocket knife backlog. He also made from this series the fixed blades versions for Kershaw. But again, he became famous with the SOG knives he started to make in the 80s, in 86. He became famous for making bushcraft knives. Originally, his father started in a factory, Masahiro, famous knife maker for kitchen knives, and Hattori decided not to conflict with the family interest of the Masahiro company. He started his own company, and not kitchen knives, but bushcraft knives. So this is how it started.
And a hunting knife.
Hunting knives, yeah, that's correct. What I already told you that the SOG Bowie, fighting Bowie, made him famous. He also made the second one from SOG specialty knives, the Trident with the Mikada. And this is his version for his own brand, as you can see, shows Hattori. The material is pretty much the same as the Trident, except of course for the leather stack handle. But as you can see, not blue gaunt or whatever. He also makes a lot of knives.
What steel did he use?
For this one, this is Aus 8.
Okay.
It's a steel he still uses a lot these days. Some will say no, it's not premium steel as like S35 or M390 or other exotic steel knives they use today. You pretty much stick to the Aus 8 for the big fixed blades.
Well, I think not a strange choice, because when you're in the field you want to strop or sharpen your knife, and then Aus 8 is of course a very nice steel, because you can easily sharpen it in the field.
I agree. It's also a pretty good edge retention, pretty good corrosive resistance. So it's still a good steel especially for fixed blades.
Yeah, and you can bring a very nice finish on the steel, nice high mirror polish. And
that's true. I've sharpened my knives myself as well, and you can really make it really razor sharp.
yeah.
So yeah, this is like another version from his knives. He different kinds of daggers. He made for Cashew some of versions. This is the Trooper, especially made for Kershaw, and this is his own version for as a dagger, the Hattori with the Mikara handles, and really the fit and finish from Hattori is really good.
What handle material did Kershaw use for the folding knife and for the dagger?
I don't know. Really, I don't know. What kind of handle material was used. I'm sorry, I can't answer that. This is the dive knife made by Hattori, and I think it shows the skills. You got a really big range. There are a lot of good and excellent knife makers in the world, but they all got like a focus on a specific design or type of designing. Hattori got a really wide range, to modern, to classic. He also produces kitchen knives, pocket knives, fish blades, in all types and versions. So
yeah, and of course the fit and finish.
yeah, it's he doesn't compromise in fit and finish. It has to be like really perfect.
Okay, so
It
what
shows.
is your source to find these Hattori knives? Because some of them are very difficult to find for collectors.
Yeah, I'm searching the internet. These are knives you won't get on standard shops. You really have to invest some time and search the internet on, let's say, eBay or other markets where you can find those knives. But you really have to be patient to get one of those knives.
And you told something when we prepared the recording of this session. You mentioned a certain website or...
Yeah, eBay and also Marktplaats. That's more like here for the Netherlands, but it's comparable with eBay. And those are the sites where I'm really looking for. And again, you have to be patient and lucky to find one and to obtain one, to get one.
So, where do you find your... what is your source for information, Mark?
For Hattori, I go to the website hattoricollector.com. There's somebody really interested in this knife making, and it took a lot of time and effort to make like a good overview of what Ichiro Hattori made in the past. So that's for me a good reference to find if a specific knife was actually made by Hattori. Because he made for a lot of brands. You can see his SOG Hattori, but also he made for Browning, Beuker. He produced for Beuker, of course, Falkenhaven, Cold Steel. So I really use the site of Hattori collectors to get the reference, to make sure that specific knives were made by Hattori. A good example is the pocket knife, the 1050. This is actually made in Japan, but there are also a version which weren't made by Hattori. So that's why I use the website to make sure I've got the knife made by Hattori himself.
Is there a specific design or model or whatever where you're still looking for? Now is your chance. Maybe the viewers can,
no,
can help you.
definitely. Hattori, the SOG version, he made for Beuker, the SOG version as well, and also I'm looking for the version he made himself with the blue gun steel. Those are for me. I'm really looking for.
Okay, so this one is also in a version with gun blue.
Yeah, he made a free version on his own brand. This version, pretty much the blue steel version with nickel guard.
Guard.
And he also made this version with the micarta handle.
Okay.
So 3 different versions for his brand, and he made 2 different versions for Beuker commemorative knives.
Okay. Very interesting. I like the collection very much. Of course, you have more, but for now we are limited in time to show only part of Mark's collection. Thank you very much, Mark, for showing off.
You're welcome.
I think a lot of people will be jealous on your collection. Thank you very much, and maybe we see each other another time in the next in one of the next episodes of Facts and Rumours, Knives from Europe. Please remember, for the whole interview, follow the link in the description box. Here we can only show a little part of the complete interview. Thank you very much, Mark.
Thank you very well, and I hope you enjoyed my knives and the story I had to tell.
Okay.